Good evening, everyone. I think it's been a pretty long day for all of you, but I still see a lot of energy in the room. It's been a pretty, not too tough of a day in Parliament today since the budget discussion got postponed. Our finance minister, our finance minister had to travel abroad for a very important personal emergency of his, and therefore he wasn't there. So what was expected to be a very lively debate in Parliament, I think we saw one today now here in Young Indians with Mr. Piyush Goyal. It reminded us a lot of the question of Shri Devi Lalji. He has done his bachelor's in business from Arizona State University. Then he had done his MBA post that, and he's returned in California, Long Island. And I'm sorry, you're from Long Island. He's in California, and he's returned to India. He's been involved in preparing himself to enter politics, working with farmers. I think he's one of the most active young members in Parliament. He's also the youngest member in Parliament at 26. But if you see the passion with which he conducts himself, he's one of two members in his party in the House. So he gets more opportunities to speak than almost anyone else, because the rest of us are limited by, we have to compete with many other MPs in our parties. But Dushyant speaks on every subject, and I think that if you would have seen him yesterday fighting for his chance to continue, and fighting with the minister to give him a chance, fighting with the next speaker to sit down, so he's definitely a great asset to our country. Then we have Mr. Ram Mohan Naidu, who is the second youngest MP in Parliament, at just turned 27, and Dushyant has him beat by just about 1 month. So they're four, what is it? 3 or 4 months. Okay, I need to get my facts straight.
Like he's the youngest for North India and the youngest for South India.
Yes, as Ram was pointing out, he's the youngest in North India and he's the youngest from South India. So Ram has done his Bachelor's of Engineering at Purdue University in the US. Then he did his MBA in Long Island in New York. And he's worked in Singapore for a couple of years. He started a business in India representing some construction products, and that was before he entered politics. I think Ram's father is also a very illustrious member of Parliament from the Telugu Desam party, the late Sri Yaram Naidu Garu from Srikakulam. I think there's a lot of similarities here. I think we'll get to that. But I think one thing is that leadership has been thrust on all three of these young MPs, and I think they're taking that in great stride with great elegance and also a lot of passion. And they all, I think, I'm not going to speak too much, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each of them to give about a 2 to 3 minute opening remarks on what their vision for the future of India is. I think we are proving once again in Young Indians, I think the last comments that Shaurya mentioned before the minister left, all the ideas that we've been hearing from this government, we've heard before, and that is it, with the India at 75 vision that was created. So India is, we are shaping the future of India. Our generation is shaping the future of India. There's no doubt about that. And these three young MPs represent our generation, not my generation, but your generation, I should say. So let me start out with Ms. Preeta Munde. And then after that, I would like Bhairavi and Srikanth and Umang to start out maybe asking the first 3 questions, and then we'll open up to the floor. So, Preetam.
Maybe ladies first. I thought we'll start with the youngest parliamentarian first. Okay. Actually, I don't know what to speak after I heard Piyushji speak. I think he's covered each and every point, and I am left with no more ideas. Okay, as far as talking in front of people from business world, people who are entrepreneurs, it's a first time for me. I come from a rural constituency. I'm a doctor myself. I've been a science student all my life. So when it comes to finances and business, I don't know ABC of it. As far as politics is concerned, I think you must be wondering that all of us sitting here have inherited the political legacy. But as far as my journey is concerned, my entry in politics was luck by chance. I lost my father a few months back in a very tragic accident. And just to fill into the empty place left by my father, I had to contest for these by-elections. So my entry in politics has a very emotional touch to it. Let's not go into the details. As far as leadership things are concerned, I said, oh my God, young Indians and leadership qualities. Leadership is a very big word. I'm just a politician. I'm no one to guide you about leadership qualities. I just remember one dialogue from Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. And leadership is a great responsibility more than power. That's what I feel. And please forgive me, I'm a little filmy person. So you will get to hear more of film examples when I talk. As far as my vision for India is concerned, what I feel as young and well-educated parliamentarians, as you must be seeing that the way we interact with each other, there are no boundaries of parties, there are no boundaries of states. So that's why, that's what I see in future. You know, all of us should think about the betterment of India and not restrict ourselves to parties. Any idea which is good for our country should be welcomed, and you should not criticize any idea just because somebody from the opposite party is putting it up. That's what my vision for future and brighter future is. That anybody who comes up with a good scheme, good idea should be welcomed and should not be criticized on party barriers. I think that's in brief, and if you want to ask me anything.
We'll complete the opening remarks and then we'll come back to you. Dushyant?
Thank you, Jaidev. Being the youngest one in the house in the history of our parliamentary system, and there was an interesting, I got the responsibility to lead my party, and another MP I have in my party, he just spoke once in last 10 months. So I have to take his side, and I think Jaidev or Ram or everybody in the house is jealous of me because I speak so much. But when it comes to speaking, I think being young, you have three responsibilities. If you think about young Indians, as I saw the board right behind me, if you see YI, it's young Indians. Who are young Indians? The people in school, kids. Education Institute as Guru, I think he's running IBS, ISB. That's colleges, universities. Then you have sports. And I think in India, if you can get quality of education, I think we have quantity of education, but we have to get quality of education. That is important. Sports infrastructure. If you go see National Stadium in Delhi today, you will also not even compare it to any stadium abroad. We have to improve that infrastructure. And finally, I think in the employment for youth. If you can get jobs for them, I think everybody will be happy. And for me, since the first day of Parliament till now, I've been mainly focusing on these three things. That is education, sports and jobs. And I think as young Indian or a young parliamentarian, if in next 5 years we can cope up with you, we can collaborate with you in any mean, I think we can get it done. And I think as our power minister before me was saying, Swachh Bharat is an important thing. And being young, if he can collaborate with you, and yesterday as the rail minister was there, I gave him an idea. Why doesn't a member of parliament spend 2 lakh rupees in his constituency by taking care of one railway station? And I think we can secure it by putting CCTV cameras. These are ideas that come from your side to our side and we implement them. And I think that takes care of the country. And these ideas that I'm talking about, the CCTV cameras, this came from Facebook. And there is this guy, Rajan Daya, he sends me a message that we buy railway tickets at 150, 200, 300 rupees. And I think if you take Rajdhani, that cost up to what, 1500, 2000. And he said, why can't we charge 1 rupee extra for insurance on our railway tickets? See, there are about 8 to 9 lakh trains that go station to station, and about 1 crore 21 lakh passengers. So 1 rupee will generate 1.21 crore rupees daily. Multiply that by 365 days, how much the railway will generate in revenues. And I think there is about what, 1 or 2 railway incidents in a month, sorry. And every incident, I think the Prime Minister or the Railway Minister has to come down and give them money per life, I think 5 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees. Are we valuing life like that? Why don't we get private people, private investors like you or private insurance companies collaborating with railways and start this insurance fee? I gave him this idea yesterday in the budgetary speech, and he called me and said, I'm going to implement this in next 4 months. So these are ideas that need to come from your side, and ideas can be generated from anybody. I don't think so. For my great-grandfather, if I talk about Chaudhary Devilal, he always said कि पढ़ा लिखा आदमी भी वो आइडिया नहीं दे पाएगा जो एक गवार दे पाता है, मगर उसको लागू करने का काम पढ़े लिखे आदमी को करना पड़ेगा. So from ideas, if you get ideas, I think everybody has a Facebook account or a page or a Twitter account. Give us ideas, throw them in. We are the ones. 0 Hour is there, 377 is there, debates are there. We'll throw them into the system, and I think in next 5 years we'll implement majority of your ideas. So we need your help in this, and anything from my side is needing. I think everybody here on the podium will be ready to support you on it. And it's lovely to have you guys here. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dishant. I think that's a great idea. I think if all of you can give us one question before the session is over, we'll submit all of them.
To the Parliament. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, especially my fellow Indians, young Indians. It's great to see everyone that's here who have come across from Pan-India. And even I feel wonderful to be here meeting all of you. So first of all, when I was listening to all the other person saying that Kailash Satyarthi was also here in the morning, I would like to say that we qualify to be in the audience more than being here. Because we are young leaders, we might be a couple of steps ahead of other people, but we are still young leaders in the making. So as much as we qualify to being on the stage, we qualify more to be in the audience and learn from this Young Indian platform. So next time I think we should be invited for the whole event, spend all the time with other young Indians and interact with all the other guests that are here. Because we also have something to learn from this stage more than giving it over here. So other than that, thanks for having our fellow MPs also. Dushyant, who beat me by 4 months. I was like, while I was campaigning, I was like, I would be the youngest. There's no chance that someone could be younger than me. Then I come here and suddenly I check all the dates and there's like someone younger to me. But after seeing him, after seeing the way he performed in the parliament, I was like, he should be the youngest. That is how much he has brought in for this youngest member of parliament. I think this stage, you all should give it up to the youngest member of parliament for doing a fantastic job, Dushyant Chautala. And Ms. Preetam Munde also, she has similar circumstances like me. After the death of our father, we had to come into politics. It was a big decision, especially for me, it was a big decision. Politics was never planned. But I took it as an opportunity. When I was a young Indian, when I was young myself and I would watch my father being in the politics and everything. You were young? Yeah. When I was younger to what I am right now. So I used to think there should be a lot of young people coming into politics or coming into the society, be more participative and everything. And even though it was a very unfortunate circumstance, I took it as an opportunity and I took the step forward. So I'm here. I think it's like if you look at the vision for India, I think a couple of things. One is we have been always fighting to eliminate poverty. It has always been there and we have been doing so many things at the grassroots level to eliminate poverty, and that is something we have to continue doing it. We have to eliminate poverty. We have to give a good standard of living to all the Indians, and we have to give them the ability to continue to have that standard of living by themselves, to make them self-sufficient, to grow on themselves. I think that is something we should strive for. The main weapon or the catalyst that we have today is the young Indians. The youth of the nation are the main catalyst, the main potential, the main power that we have today. If they get more participative, if they get more involved in the working of the democracy or in the working of the society or the government and everything, if the youth participates more, I think we can achieve our goals much ahead of the time that we are planning them for. So.
I'll just interrupt in the middle. As Dr. Preetham said, she came by an accident. Ram came by accident. Same story for me also. I came into politics because my father and my grandfather was sentenced 10 years of imprisonment by the Congress regime, putting a fraudulent CBI case. And after that, I had to leave my education. I was studying in Regent's College, London, and I had to leave it and come into politics. And then suddenly the judgment of High Court didn't come by the time, and I was forced also into politics. So I think everybody here are by accidents, and I think if you see around India, all the people, all the MPs below 30, who came into politics, everybody has come by accident. So that was the thing I wanted to say, that I'm not a bred politician. I was a student of business management, and I was studying. I had to leave my education and come into politics. But it is good, as we came in, we learnt a lot. And as Dr. Preetham said, with great powers come great responsibilities. I think we are living the legacy also, because she is also a second generation, Ram is also a second generation, and Jay is a third generation, and I'm the fourth generation parliamentarian from my family.
So that was an observation that we used to make a lot when I was also active in YI, was that in such a young country, maybe the youngest country in the world, average age is 25, why are our politicians so old? You know, when are we going to have a prime minister that's below 50 or below 40? When are we going to have young parliamentarians that aren't coming in accidentally, but because there's an opportunity for them to do so, who aren't necessarily part of a legacy also? So I think that's just a comment I wanted to make, and I think that's something we need to strive for as young Indians. How do we assert ourselves more than we currently are, and ensure that the average age is coming down? Ironically, I'm considered young in Parliament also, and maybe it's because I hang out with Ram all the time, I'm not sure.
Yes. Like you said, they're not young people more in the parliament. I think India had a choice to vote for the youngest prime minister last time, but they didn't want it.
Yes.
No offense to anyone. No offense to anyone.
We do have politicians here, so keep that in mind.
Just an observation.
Yes. I'm going to ask one question, then I'm going to let Baidevi ask the next question, and then to Umang and Srikanth. See, in politics, a lot of times we wonder, why are we here? Did we take the right decision to enter politics? Especially when we get frustrated by all the roadblocks that we come across. People preventing us from doing what we want to do, preventing us from saying what we want to say. So when you feel like that, the question is, what keeps you going?
When I feel that, so what keeps me going? The only reason why I'm in politics is to fulfill my father's dreams, the work which my father has left halfway through. And it's for the people who have loved him so much. And that is the reason why I have won with historical margin. I should mention it here. My constituency has 11 lakhs of voters, out of which 9,21,000 people have voted for me. So it's so many people trust me. I have won by 7 lakh margin. So if so many people are trusting me with something, it is my duty to fulfill their dreams. It is my duty to be of some use to them, whatever little work they have or whatever biggest of dreams they have, that they wish me to fulfill on their behalf. They've sent me here as their representative. So as I said, I truly believe, it is just not a dialogue which I remembered, I truly believe with great power comes great responsibility. And that's what keeps me going. The feeling which I have that whatever I do, I should not be in a position where I will let down my father's name. And anybody should not tomorrow comment saying that, oh, she is not, I mean, मुंडे जी की बेटी शोभा नहीं देती. ये एक सेंटेंस कोई मेरे लिए ना बोले, इसके लिए मैं जो भी करूँगी, I will do everything so that people say कि ये मुंडे जी की बेटी शोभा देती है. And that is what my inspiration is.
We'll break up the order here a little bit. Ram, you can go next.
I would also have the same answer. It's kind of the father's legacy that pushes us. If it's very hard at this kind of age when you're dealing with lakhs of people, the problems of lakhs of people, the kind of responsibility that I have. But you think about your father and the kind of words people say about him, and you feel like at least, if not you can do that, you can just try to do that. So that's what something which pushes you. And whenever it's like, I keep remembering my college days. After taking electrical engineering in Purdue, it's like one of the toughest courses in Purdue. I was like, why did I take engineering? I could have taken any other course. I would see all other people in other courses enjoying in the weekend, and I would be thinking about homeworks and exams and everything. Then I used to think, why did I take engineering? But then in the back of the mind, it tells that engineering is the best thing to do. You're in the best college in the US and you're doing the best thing. So you should push yourself. So it's something that comes from within also. You have to listen to yourself also. You have to shape yourself saying that, okay, this is a tough job, but you stick by it. Use all the strength you have. Go ahead. Try to do it. Then you can see whatever happens.
If you're talking about what keeps us pushing, I think these are the people who have voted for us. See, if I talk about my constituency has about 16 lakh voters. I got about 5 lakh votes on Maha. But the guy I want to, majority of people I think North India might be knowing Kuldeep Bishnoi. He has his own party, he's the leader of his own party. And his father was 3 times Chief Minister of Haryana. And he won against my dad, his dad won against my granddad and my great-granddad. So that was a rivalry that ended by me winning. But on the other hand, when I go to my constituency, from 6 a.m. till 12 p.m., there are people at the door. And they'll knock and just say, Bhai Sahab, ye kaam kara do. First thing, as a politician, what we get is, kaam kara do is a very easy word that is said by that person. Kaam kaise hoga? How will it be done? That has to be a solution by us. And when one of you guys from the back asked Piyush Goyal about bureaucracy, that is our job, how we request the bureaucracy to turn. And sometimes they have to bend down, they have to bend rules just to get a solution from the problem for a layman there. There was this guy who comes up to me and said, Bhai Sahab, bandook ka license dila do. That is his thing. He voted for me because he wants a gun license. And I asked him, kya karega? कहते जी बैंक में नौकरी लग जाएगी 20,000 रुपए मिलेंगे. So think about that guy. He learned 20,000 rupees per month. If I just make a call to the DC and say कि इसको license दे दो. But on the other end, if I don't call, next time if I go to during elections and say भाई vote दियो, and he'll tell me मैं तो एक काम आया था तूने कराया नहीं. So we have to think about each and every person that comes up to us, and I think that responsibility keeps us running. And I think when we are in the parliament, majority of us, we have to work about 10 hours to 12 hours writing our speeches, putting questions up, because questions have to be put 15 days in advance. and then you have resolutions and other things. I think being from a larger party like TDP or BJP, I think you can have your offices running. For me, I think I have to be my own office. I just have one PA that works for me. And luckily he's from South India, so he can work from 6 a.m. till 12 p.m. with me. Otherwise, if a person from Haryana or Punjab would have been there, he would have run away by now. So I should appreciate South Indian people who work a lot. And I just want to ask a simple question. How many people here in this ballroom are from Haryana? Just a good hand. Only one?
Two.
Two? Three? No, that's a UT. So see, compare it. In this full house, I think one of my friends is there and two more people there. Three people from Haryana. So I request everybody here, get more people from the industries from Haryana. We have a good amount in Gurgaon, Faridabad, and small cities like my constituency in Hisar, Karnal, Panipat. I think business has to be collaborated with areas. And like us, if you start talking, you start mixing around, you will also start solving your problems. So I think that is the better solution. When you talk around, you get solutions from your problem. And that is the way, keeping a legacy on and going into the public, talking to them, that gets that energy to work around for more than 18 hours whenever needed. And I was talking to Preetam ji when Piyush Goyal was standing and giving about the award. He was smiling wide. I think, see, it's so hard to smile when you are at the podium. But as a politician, I think that is the most important thing. Your pictures have to be perfect. Because the person who is taking it, it's a piece for him. So you have to find solutions for every problem. And I think politicians are pretty good at finding solutions for them.
Thank you, Darshan. Now, Bhairavi, if you could ask any one of the MPs a question, please.
So I think any one of them can choose, and even Jay, you can. My question is very simple. You've talked about ideas that come from people using social media. You've talked about, being open to views, things that come, requests that come from constituencies. Each one of you have had your fathers or your grandfathers being very public leaders. That is the reason you have had the grace and blessings of the votes that you have won with. And therefore, even in the absence of technology, they figured out a way to be with people, to be accessible to people. How can we create a process where the young people in the country get more connected with parliamentary processes, development processes that happen at the constituency level with the members of parliament, with or without the use of technology? But how can we create better processes for that kind of very close coordination of work, and not just you taking the views, but you actually working in tandem with them as a joint team? Because we've got to realize the nation by India at 75 in the year 2022. We've got to all work together and not in isolation. And maybe that is the shift your generation of politics can bring in this democracy. So any one of you can answer.
I'll just add one point to this. Maybe others can add their own opinions. When you want these young people to know about the parliamentary procedures and everything, one solution for this is to have mock parliaments, mock assemblies. You can have it in the schools, you can have it in your own colleges, or you can have it with a set of people in your own constituency, anywhere. So you can have the procedure, what goes in the parliament, you can actually bring it to your local field, you can have it at a panchayat level and get them all and try to explain them the procedure of the parliament. So that is one way of getting them involved. What
Ram,
goes on
it's not
here.
about the lack of their knowledge of how the parliament runs. Let me tell you, they're all quite aware. I think it's actually involving them in running off your parliamentary offices. Things that probably, gets them involved in you having access to their brains and their knowledge as well. And how do you work together?
I'll ask a question to everyone in the house. How many of you know there is a program that is called One MP, One Idea? Just one, two, three, very few of you. I request every one of you sitting here, because you might be related to some institute or some company or some house, write a letter to your member of parliament to start that program. It's called One MP, One Idea, and you send an idea to your member of parliament. That is a program that goes, and there are awards 2.5 lakh for the first prize, 1.5 lakh for the second prize, and 1 lakh rupees for the third prize. And it is out of the MP lad. And you give us ideas, we go through those ideas and we implement them in our constituency as well as the state, as well as the Union of India. So these are things that come in. Social media is one way that you can connect to. I keep on getting, still, this period where technology is so savvy, I still get letters from people. And I go through those letters individually. And I'll tell you one good thing. What I learned from a veteran politician is that good letters are never read. जिसको गाली दोगे ना, वो जल्दी पढ़ेगा, जल्दी reply करेगा. So I think गाली मत देना, but at least a sense of good being for the country should be there. And people send us that. Social media, if I go through my Facebook every day, I have about 1.5 lakh people connected to my Facebook. But individually, every post I do, I go through the comments. What people write, I go through my message. It's not easy for me to reply to everybody. But the good ones I reply to, I choose them, I quote them in the parliament. And I think that helps us with more engagement with people. Twitter is one good option. It's faster with smaller alphabet. And you have more things coming in. I think as technology will grow, it will become more savvy. And I'm going to start this new program that will be implemented by, I think, 3rd of April, most probably on my birthday, that every Saturday I'll spend 1 hour on either Skype or Google Hangout with talking to people. Why can't we do that? Why can't everybody in the house do that? You have to make it more interactive. It's not easy for me running around 426 villages of my constituency, or I think he has more. He has over 600 villages in your constituency. 3,000 villages. It's not easy running around 3,000 villages. But that way, where we can add technology, that will make it easier for us to do our work and as well as help the government to improve the infrastructure of a country.
What I would like to say is, I don't know if your question was pertaining to specific areas, because I come from a rural constituency. So there are 1,400 villages in my constituency. So people there are not very techno-savvy. They might not be there on Facebook or Twitter. But as far as our areas of work are concerned, there is a young population who is connected with us, who believes in our thinking process, who follows us. So you have your party workers, you have your followers. So that way youth is somewhere connected to you. And especially if as leaders we belong to the young leader category, then there is more youth who's relating with us. They feel we will understand their problems in a better way. We will put across their problems in a better way. So I think as far as relating to youth in your constituency is concerned, that is of course there. But if you're talking about crossing the barriers and the boundaries and reaching out to the youth in India, then maybe technology is the only solution. That's what I feel.
Umang?
Well, I think all of you seem to be in some manner accidental politicians currently. And of course, we all know about the young population, etc. And if you look at, we understand that politics, there is competition in politics. So there is competitive politics. But is there a way, I mean, you're all educated, is there a way of co-optation of some kind, where competitiveness and cooperation come together? And is there a way for us to actually have a common minimum program as a parliament, and not just as a party or a group of parties? At the end of the day, today the country is young. Most people over here have not don't even know what happened in 1991 because they were not born then. They have no clue about the reforms and this and that. They only know about today and the kind of world that they live in today. They have absolutely no history and they couldn't really care also. So is there a way around, in that way, a bottom-up approach with the young parliamentarians?
Let me just start out by making a couple of comments before letting the young MPs answer this question. This term, common minimum program, is something that I've never liked. the very fact that it has the word minimum in it is something that doesn't appeal to me, and I don't think it should get down to the lowest common denominator, which is what happens when you try to do that. I think the time is right, and I think our Prime Minister is right to say that I have a vision, right? And I'm going to lead this country to fulfill that vision, come what may. And if the results have proven, most recently in Delhi there was a setback, of course, and maybe too much dominance is not such a good thing. I myself, being part of the ruling alliance, is there any media here? I would have to say that I felt a little bit relieved after the Delhi result, because it brought some sanity back to the House. Otherwise, it would have been very tough to deal with people in that House. But the idea of cooperative federalism is something that he is pushing, which is partnership with states, empowering states to do more. If you have read the news, the devolution of funds to states has gone up from 32% to 42%, which is unprecedented. It's a huge amount of money put into the states' discretion in terms of how they spend it and how they're going to, what type of programs they're going to implement and prioritize. My own state, of course, it worked in a negative effect, because all it did was the additional 10% is only going towards deficit financing, because we're a deficit state. So I'll be talking about that on Monday for sure. But cooperative federalism, in spite of that, in spite of the negative impact it had on my state, I still support it. Our party still supports it. And I think it's definitely the right way to go. So having said that, who wants to?
I think it's a very good initiative that you mentioned. All the young parliamentarians coming together. We have, I don't know if they have it before this Lok Sabha or not, but we all try to be in touch, and we are trying to form one group together so that we can at least discuss about the youth problems, the problems that are faced by the youth. Because as young parliamentarians, we are the voice of the youth first. So we are trying to form a group within each other and address the problems that youth are facing. I think we'll take it as an initiative. What you mentioned, can they come together? I think we can come together. There are young parliamentarians across the country. There is one from Bengal. And like I thought before that to come as a young parliamentarian, you need to have the big legacy, or you need to have the big family dynasty behind you. But surprisingly, there are people who have, without any kind of family politics behind them, they have come up to the parliament at a very young age. So that is one good perspective that we can look at. So we all want to come together at the stage of the parliament, and we can interact with different kinds of groups across India and try to address the problems in the parliament.
I think, Ram, somewhere we've already started that, because when you see us together, we are from different parties. Our parties have different agendas. Our parties have different things to put forward. But when we sit and talk, there are certain issues. If I feel my party has done something which was not a very correct decision, so I openly criticize it, then I take their views also. So we are quite open to criticism and suggestion from other parties. I think the young parliamentarians, we are from all different parties, different states, and it does not matter. What matters is what we feel is right for our country, and that should be done irrespective of which party or which state we belong to.
I think when you talk about party lines, when we sit in the central hall of parliament, that is between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, there are no parties there. It's just people and parliamentarians talking to each other. We share issues. Some issues that BJP cannot pick up against its government, they'll come tell us, please take this up in the 0 hour. At least the nation should know this has happened. And I think as Mr. Piyush Goyal was saying, Jan Dhan Yojana is a great scheme. It is. Everybody got a debit card, everybody got a checkbook. But yesterday was a funny incident. I came to know that in Jan Dhan Yojana, you cannot deposit checks more than 5,000 rupees. So if you pay your employees in check, where they will not have a zero balance or a Jan Dhan account. That is something that people tell us, and now we criticize the government, they will take action. And I think criticism will improve the infrastructure. You need a healthy opposition to work against the government for development of the nation. And I think everybody beyond party lines, we talk, we eat lunch, we have coffee together. But when we are sitting in the parliament, I think that time we get to party lines, we talk about our party policies, party issues, and I think that gets into healthy politics. There are no more pushing of mics, throwing of mics or throwing of chairs in parliament anymore, but it is healthy discussion. And I think with that healthy discussion, this land acquisition bill came in, and it's majority for corporates, but with suggestions, with parties putting pressure, there were changes in it and the final round of it. So healthy discussion is needed, but I think beyond party lines, we talk to each other and we have that initiative going on already.
I think there's going to be a very interesting announcement at the end of this session, which would go a long way towards achieving this. So let me just leave it at that for now.
First, I think there are 2 points I'd like to make. First is on the so-called vision that you had, and the second is on what, the one MP, one idea concept. I think that's something I'm going to go back and take it. But I think we have 37 chapters as of today. And this morning, the vision was, can we touch 50? Sanjay this morning was talking about how soon can we touch 50 chapters. I mean, I'd like to go back a year. I think Guru and we did this big program in Pondicherry, and somebody came up with this big audacious goal for Vaya 543 chapters, not 50. Let's not think of 10, 20 chapters more. The number was magical 543. Can we have 543 chapters in India? And practically every chapter shadows the MP to perform. Exactly, Jay. So what happens is the chapter becomes great resource for the MPs to also deliver and get feedback. No, so we don't have 543 chapters. We will probably be at 10% of that in the next couple of years, say 50, 60 chapters. How can we evolve a model of, ideation both ways, two-way traffic of ideation? That's the first part of the question. Exactly. One MP, one Vaya chapter instead of one MP, one idea. No, you can trust us on that. Enough ideas will flow.
This is one idea coming from Vaya.
And the second part of the question is, as young MPs, you're young, we are at least borderline young. What kind of fun do you have? You have a serious session the whole day, and I'm sure none of us want to hear your Millennium Development Goals and all that for the next 2 minutes. But what is the kind of fun you guys have? I mean, you've just been plucked out of college, practically. You should have been dating a few girls and doing that, but you're stuck inside the parliament. So what kind of fun do you have? I've got a serious part and a jovial part, so you can answer whichever one you want. Ram.
Fun part is this guy. You said something about dating. I don't think he stopped on that. It is, sometimes you get carried away. There is a huge responsibility once you're in constancy, day in and day out. Because politics, people say, how is politics? How is being a politician and everything? I just answer to them, it's not like a job, it's like a way of life. It's once you're a politician, you're always a politician. It's a way of life. So, in the process of being a politician, you're working day in and day out, right from the morning to the night you sleep. You're just with the people, with their problems, trying to give them solutions, trying to make them feel confident that they voted for the right leader and everything. And somehow in this process, you lose the fun part. Suddenly you realize what I'm doing, and then you try to get out of that work, and it is little difficult when you try to take this job a little too seriously. But coming to Delhi actually helps. Coming to Delhi helps because other than the people, I think you get to meet other MPs. Even they say that they face the same problems. So you feel that, okay, I'm not the only one. And then you can sit together and talk about each other's MP's problems rather than your constituency's problems. So there's a good and the bad. It's a personal thing how you balance. But there is a fun part also. It's not that we are entirely working and there is certainly a fun part.
Talking about the fun part, I think Ram is one of the funniest one we have in the house, and he keeps us busy. Then we have people from other parties, and I think if you ever get a chance around 4 o'clock to see Lok Sabha TV, you will never see people sitting on their position or with their party members. There'll be people from BJP, Congress, and we three of us sit in the center row. That is no man's land. So that is all regional parties like TDP, BJD, Shiv Sena, and everybody. We have MPs that make you laugh. Some old MP will be sleeping, some reporter at the top will be sleeping. We click their pictures, share it with each other, because if we post it on Twitter, I think that next day reporters will get behind us and clicking our picture. So we have fun there, we have fun in the central hall, we get together for lunches, dinners, and I think life there is very good. But when you are back to your constituency, there is no fun. There are people that ask me, where do you stay? In Hisar or my hometown of Sirsa or Delhi, I sleep in my car. Because always I have a bag stuffed with my clothes, and I don't know, 500 kilometers you travel a day, and wherever you get to sleep, you put your bag there and sleep. So your life is much rougher when you are in your constituency and much smoother when you are in Delhi. And Delhi, for me, is not that fun because my constituency is about 200 kilometers away. So every morning I have 200 people sitting at my door. It's more fun for them. So I would always like the parliament to be either in Maharashtra or Andhra or Tamil Nadu. And I think like Jammu Kashmir has that winter is in Jammu and summers are in Kashmir. I think we should have two parliaments that. And they should propose that in their new capital of Guntur or Vijayawada to have the new parliament. So I can also have a break flying there. So I think it's fun when we are in the house. But it's hectic too because you have to work a lot also here. And I think fun part is there, and one MP, one idea. I think idea should always be there for young Indians to interact with their member of parliament.
Let me finish with the one MP, one idea, and one young Indian. That is a very good suggestion, and definitely we should work on it. As far as fun part is concerned, you asked Dushyant about dating girls and all. Dating is out for me. Because I'm married, I have a 2-year-old son. So for me, the job is definitely very hectic, and it does take a toll on me as a mother. I feel guilty all the time. As I have to leave my son in Mumbai. My house is in Mumbai. My constituency is 600 kilometers from Mumbai, and my parliament is in Delhi. So I'm always jumping between, like Dushyant said, he sleeps in his car. Somebody was asking me the other day, where do you stay? I say, I stay in flights because I'm always traveling. Every week I go to my constituency. So fun part is not very much, but yes, I do enjoy in Delhi whenever I'm with all these young, who are much younger than me. So I remember my college days when we were sitting in Central Hall. I remember how I used to sit in my canteen. So yes, Delhi does make me feel very relaxed and I can say rejuvenated. So I'm all recharged to go back to my constituency and work harder than before. So yeah, we do have our fun times.
And I request everybody from you, like 34 chapters you have, is going to take 34 days, but every chapter should visit the parliament once and see the fun we are having in the house.
And well, yeah, see, my elder son Ashok is 3 years younger than these two guys. But it's nice to have young friends, right? So I think that they keep me young, and I think I'm the only I'm the only one, at least in this group, that has 2 full-time jobs, so that keeps me quite busy as well. I'm still running my businesses, as well as trying to keep up with the work in constituency. And for me, the circuit is Delhi, Hyderabad, Guntur, Tirupati. And they're not necessarily very well connected. So it's like, it gets difficult. And the biggest challenge that I've faced is that my life has suddenly become totally unpredictable. We're used to having 3 months tentative, 1 month firm schedules, with appointments happening. And when you make a commitment, that's what happens. It doesn't change that much. But once you enter politics, until the last day of session, you don't know if that's going to be the last day of session. You don't know when you're going to need to come back. Not once have I gone to my constituency with a plan that I could stick to. There have been times where I'm halfway there and I had to turn around and go back to Hyderabad because I've been called for a meeting. So it's just completely unpredictable. I can't make any commitments that I can keep as far as time is concerned. So it's still early days for us, 1 year over. And I think that we're still getting into the stride of learning how to do this job and how to structure our time in a way that we can make the maximum use out of it for everything that we need to do. But I think that in another year or so, we should have had the hang of it. And I think we definitely will be having more fun then. Having said that, now I would like to open up for some questions on the floor, if you guys are still okay with it. And I'd like you to state who you are, your name, where you're from, and address the question to any one of the young MPs. And try to please keep it short and keep it to questions. Thank you. Mics, please. So we'll take. I think there's a couple people back there also. If you can take the mics over there.
Okay, I'm going to do the mic runner's job. Just 2 questions and we'll close this.
My name is Leo from YI Trichy chapter, Tamil Nadu. Very happy to see parliaments highly educated and representing us, but I still believe that the average education level of most of the parliaments are very low. Is there a dream which may come true that there should be some minimum education qualification to be in parliament and probably some retirement age for people representing us, people not able to walk sitting in parliament? Your thoughts, please.
Who are you asking, Leo?
Just 1 second, Jay. We'll have Saket also ask the question, and then if you can do that.
Just open to everyone. There's a lot of problem with, I'm from Calcutta, there's a lot of problem with regards to unionism in the city. People in government offices do not want to work, and if the managers try to do anything, they bring union into the picture. So imagine you were the Chief Minister of West Bengal. What would you do to end that problem? Yeah.
Why don't we take one more question? Each of them can answer one.
Yeah. My question is to Mr. Dushyant. I am Chandrasekhar representing Hyderabad chapter. All of you have told about your journeys and how you have gone into where you are now. The question is, for those of them who are really interested, the youth, to get into politics, active politics, and contribute, what is the infrastructure or the mechanism which they should follow, and how can we educate the youth to actually get into active politics so that they can be change makers? Thank you.
Union, I think if I would imagine being the Chief Minister, I would just go crazy. So, regarding the qualification here, the person from Tamil Nadu was asking, how would we have more educated politicians in the parliament? See, there is a contradiction to this. We have had one of the best leaders, best Indian leaders who are uneducated also. We should just remember that in the back of the mind. So the other thing I want to say is that you want to get the literacy rate of the whole India up. You're not just saying that, okay, I want some educated leaders in the parliament, So I just restrict myself to selecting all the educated people in the public and get them to the parliament. You're just trying to pick up the whole literacy rate up and then trying to get the... So that is the mindset that we need to have. So we need to get the literacy rate up in the whole country as a whole and then pick up the leaders from there. That is one way of having good leaders in the parliament who are educated and who also know the problems of the people. And I think the third question was... Yeah, that is a good question, and that is where I think we as young parliamentarians play a huge role. Talking to them, making them feel like they're actually contributing to the system, to the government as a whole. And one of the first things youth to participate is by voting. Come out to vote. That is what the first thing I want to tell to the youth of the nation. Just come out to vote. That is the first thing you need to do. Once you see that, okay, I've voted for a change, and you see that change happening right at that stage, there is a belief in yourself that you can do something. So that is one stage where the youth has to start. And after that, you can be very participative. Youth can actually get involved at every stage. Any problem that they have, you see, the Nirbhaya thing happened, and it was the most horrible incident, one of the most horrible incidents India has seen. And the reason it's got such widespread, I don't know, I don't want to use the word publicity, but so the reason everybody knew that this kind of incident is such a serious one and serious steps has to be taken is because of the youth. They came onto the streets, they took the issue to a new level, and I think youth can be more participative in themselves. So that is one thing.
Okay, the first question about West Bengal, I don't know what I would do if I was the chief minister. No, what I will say is maybe Dushyant is the youngest parliamentarian, but as far as the political experience goes, I'm way younger than him. I'm MP just since past 3 months. So I don't know what I would do in that situation, honestly. I would like to answer this question saying that honestly, I will not know what to do. I'm brutally honest at times, that's what I say. About the second question, education of parliamentarians. So what I would like to say is not everything is related to education. Yes, like Ram said rightly, that we should be worried about the overall literacy rate in our country and not about which MP went to which school or which college, because I don't know how many of you will agree with me, but one more time I would like to refer to what Ram said. It's not a job, it's a way of life. And believe me, maybe sitting there and criticizing or commenting about politics is much easier job when you're actually actively involved in politics. It is a very proud moment when I say 9,21,000 people voted for me. But believe me, it is a very difficult task to influence so many people. So it is not something that will come with education. Being in politics and trying to influence people is a talent which is not directly connected to education. So it's not some business where you need to learn things. When you have to deal with people and their problem, it has to come naturally to you. It cannot be taught in any institutes. But when you asked about how young people can enter politics, are there any institutes training them? Yes, there are certain institutes which are coming up with developing leadership qualities. As far as Maharashtra is concerned, we have few colleges in Pune. They have such programs where they train the interested young people about politics. They call young politicians to guide those students. There were students coming from that institute. They had recently visited Parliament. They saw how the work goes on. And there are few people who are taking initiative. So let's treat it as a skill development thing, which our government has also started as a new ministry. So I think it is a skill more than education. One needs to be more interested, one needs to be aware of their rights and their duties as well. Interested in politics is not always just standing and raising fingers at politicians, and criticizing politics is not your duty. What I want to give a message here on this platform is the youth in India should be more open towards joining politics, and you should have more unbiased view. Not everybody who's in politics is a bad person. Not every politician is a corrupt person. So these views, when they'll start changing, then I think more and more youth can positively join the politics. And obviously people who are interested and talented, they get spotted, they get noticed, and they do get their deserved positions. So there is enough scope for young people in politics.
I'll start with the education. As our speaker here, Jaydev has said, be brief. Like whenever I get a chance to speak in parliament, all the speakers chairing, they press a button and they cut down my mic. So today I have the mic in my hand, I will not give it to him. Yeah, I just get 2 minutes because we have 2 MPs and BJP, luckily they get 250 minutes. So, talking about the education of a member of parliament, I'll make it very brief. My great-grandfather just had class 5 education. He just studied at class 5, but he became the deputy prime minister of this country because he worked for the farmers at the grassroots. And I think education is not a matter, it is the way how you make policies, how you implement it. And I think without education also you can do it very well. When you talk about unions and Mamata Banerjee, that is a more or less communist culture. And as Piyush Goyalji was saying, you can change your, I think, electricity provider. I think more unions are going to come up because they will shut down all the government departments. Think about those families there also. They'll get jobless. So unions are important when you talk about for your own rights. And my grandfather always said, adhikar mange nahi milte, adhikar chhinne padte hain. And I think the same thing is with industries. If you ask the government that please do this for us, nobody will do for that. You have to strive for it, you have to fight for it. And I think unions are doing that. Sometimes they go beyond a point, that is harmful also. If you talk about student unions, that's the same thing happening there. And when you talk about young parliamentarians or legislatures coming in, I think you have to start at that panchayat level. And we have seen very successful politicians. Right next to me, Nagendra Pradhanji from Odisha sits. And he was the Sarpanch, he was 3-time MLA in his constituency, state minister, and then he came to parliament. He's about 58 or 60 now. These are people that have learnt, they teach us support is the most important thing for politics. And I think if you have the support, like Chaudhary Devilal had the support of this full nation, he was offered the seat of the Prime Minister, but he said, I promised VP Singh, and in 89 he made VP Singh the Prime Minister of this country. So it is the support you have of people, and if you have support from all around India, I was talking to them, I should learn all the language. Ram is going to teach me Telugu, she will teach me Marathi, and we have Shrikant there, all people. And we have to teach Jaydev Hindi. But if we teach him Hindi, he'll start invading in Haryana. So I'll keep him away from Hindi. So I think it is very important that you should have overall support to succeed in politics.
Excellent. So before I thank everyone, I'd just like to say a few words. See, in this country, if you look at the voting percentage, Ram alluded to it when he was giving his answer. I'll give my constituencies as an example, Guntur. I have 50% urban, 50% rural voters. And as we move into urban areas, and as we move into more affluent communities, the voting percentage declines. So it can be as high as 70, 75, 78%, 80% sometimes in some rural areas, because villages tend to vote en masse. They are a lot more actively involved in the political process. They mobilize all their voters, and a village tends to vote en masse. Whereas you start to get to the urban areas, it can get down to even 30% in Mumbai, 30% in Jubilee Hills, in some of the affluent areas in Jubilee Hills in Hyderabad. In some of the affluent areas in Guntur, it dips to as low as 40%. So if you don't have educated people voting, how do you expect to have educated people in politics? You know, the politics is a reflection of our society. And unless our society changes and wakes up and starts to do something about it, you have the leaders you deserve. So on that note, I'm sure that all of you young Indians are, if not already politically active, will become politically active. That doesn't mean just running for office. It starts with voting. It starts with getting your neighbors to vote. It starts with teaching your children about how to be a good citizen. And I think that it will change society more than anything else. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Jay, for wonderfully moderating that session. I'm just going to take 30 seconds. I think somebody asked this question about what's the better way. I think, Bhairavi, you asked this question, right? What's the good way to engage with parliamentarians or policymakers? We've been, as you all know, YI's contribution to this process is first in the form of Jay Galla, because he's the first elected Lok Sabha member from YI. So, Jay, I think that's the first step. And today, if you look at what are two, focus areas of YI that I spoke of earlier, if you think of youth leadership and nation building, keeping those two in mind, YI plans to set up a young parliamentarians forum to nurture ideation and to host dialogue amongst young members of parliamentarian and also elected representatives of the state legislative bodies, and the dialogue with young industry leaders, professionals, and students. What's the specific aim? The specific aim of this is to incorporate youth perspective in policy making and the political process in India. The forum, we believe, will provide a significant impetus in strengthening our democracy by promoting youth participation in parliament and also to reaching out to young people interested and involved in politics. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure, and these are four, I'm counting Jay as because he's one of those whom you can count on both sides, on YI and MP, as a member of parliament. These four have agreed to be on this Young Parliamentarians Forum. So may I request you all to give a big round of applause for us as we kickstart this process, which I believe is something that will help YI position itself on a sort of slightly higher elevated platform when it comes to influencing in a very positive manner the process of policy making in this country, especially on issues concerning youth. On that count, I want to thank all the distinguished members of parliament and Shrikant, Bhairavi and Umang for participating in this process, and all of you. We are now going to quickly move into the annual session, and you can imagine I'm very eager to get that accomplished, right? So I'm going to request everyone to remain seated, and also those of you outside to please come in if you can hear me. But thank you so much, all of you, for being with us this evening. Thank you.
To develop that village. I forgot to say that.
No, we'll use this platform to work on that in a more concrete
Thank you
manner.
very much.
Definitely. Thank you. I'm going to